Time you're watching this video, I want to welcome you today. I'm Jay Moore, your healthy accountant, and I want to welcome you to the Enlightenment broadcast. And today we'll be talking about part 2 of Seeing the Change. Part 2 of Seeing the Change. So yesterday, as we take a quick recap, what is it that we were talking about? We were talking about change and how a lot of times we want to see the results. We want to see what's happening. We want to know that whatever it is that we're doing is actually coming to fruition. We talked about the 12 changes that you should expect. And if you didn't catch yesterday, you should probably go back and watch it. But it was 12 things, your body, your relationship, your marital status, your single status, your financial knowledge, like a whole bunch of things. Bunch of things um, will change when you change. That's right. So we also looked at a verse in Isaiah chapter 43, I think 19, and that verse talks about God doing a new thing. See, when it's time for you to change, when you want to change, then there's going to be something brand new that is going to happen in your life. And I'm going to tell you, when I lost 30 pounds, 35 pounds for the first time ever, never had to lose weight, that was brand new. That was a new experience. I saw my body change. I saw my knowledge of health and and exercise change. I saw a strength that I wasn't sure was there actually change. And so I can tell you, just from, I'm talking about from my own experience, that when you change, you literally see those results. Now, the funny thing about change is that, and well, not really the funny thing, but there are a couple things in life that happens without, I'm talking about without, I mean, you can't stop either one of these. You ready? The first thing you can't stop, the first thing you can't change is time. Time continues and time moves forward. There's nothing you can do. When were created, we were created in a realm that had time. Now, God lives in a realm that has no time. He lives in forever. He lives in eternity. We are in time. And he had to do this for a specific purpose. And that specific purpose was to, it was kind of like to control what could happen. So imagine, you can't have sin in eternity, because if you have sin in eternity, it would never end. It would always keep, and you can't get sick in eternity, because if you get sick in eternity, you will be forever sick. So he had to design time in such a way that there could be change. Now, that's the second thing. Change is the other thing you can't stop. You're going to change no matter what. Things are going to change no matter what. So you think, if you can't, there's nothing you can do about time. Time moves forward every day. And there's nothing you can do about change. Change is going to happen whether you like it or not. You want to be on the right side of time, and you want to be on the right side of change. So as we're looking at some of the responses, there are 7 responses that you will have to change. What are those responses? What do people do when it's time to change and they don't want to change? They resist it. They say, you know what? I'm happy the way that I am. You know what? I've been like this all these years, and there's no reason for me to change. You know what? This is just how I am. You know what? I like things the way that we used to do it. I want to do it the old way. Have you heard these kinds of statements? That's the resistance of change, because some people, a lot of people, even though change is evident, from the time you were born, God created it so that from the time you were born, you had to change. You didn't resist it at first, because when you came out as a baby, you didn't resist growing. You didn't resist learning how to walk. You didn't resist learning how to talk. You didn't resist learning new things. But it's after a certain time, what happens is you start to have to learn things that you're trying to figure out, why do I have to learn this? See, that's where the resistance comes in. And kids do this all the time. Kids start realizing that, man, some of this stuff that you're having me learn, I don't know if I want to learn it. I don't know that it's relevant for me. Watch your kids. Watch their body language. When they have to do things, they are resisting change. And the second response to change is that you ignore change. People just ignore it. You know, there's a lot of things that could happen on a day-to-day basis, right? From your relationships to your health, your finances, your job, your business, your spiritual life. Um, all these things are major areas of life. And if you ignore changes happening in any of these areas, you could really be sabotaging your life. I want you to think about something. If you ignored your health, if you ignore your health, you've been getting signs that something's wrong, right? I've I've got one thing. I got one thing that's been, you know what? I'm going to call it an opportunity. Every time you have a situation, I don't want to use the other word, the P word. I want you to look at it as an opportunity. And so I have one opportunity in my body, on my body, inside of my body, something that doctor said some things about it, and so I've been not ignoring it. I've been proactively doing things about it, meaning um, a lot of people with this opportunity, they may not necessarily go running every day. So I'll go running. A lot of people with this opportunity that I have, they may not necessarily stay exercising because they may make excuses for the opportunity that I'm dealing with. So I'm not gonna call it what it is, because I believe that I'm mentally capable to change this thing into an opportunity, so that when I talk to someone else that say they have this opportunity, I can tell them what I did and how it changed my life. So don't look at your challenges as challenges. Look at them as, Eric, man, I can grow right there. I can get bigger. See, kids have to actually grow into, into teenagers, into young adults, into adults. But imagine if you could keep growing your mind like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It never ends. That's how God created us. So, you know, the second response to change is that you ignore it. Now, me, I'm not ignoring change. I'm moving forward. I've decided that I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to do something about it. Then some people in the third response, they accept change. They accept and say things like, man, it is what it is, man. It's just got to be that way. There's nothing we can do about it. I guess I'm just going to die, or, I guess there's no cure, or there's no way that I could ever get a job like that, or there's no way that I can turn my business around. There's no way that I can change what's happened in my relationship. There's no way I can change what's going on inside of my church, because it's just crazy, man. There's no, like, that's when people start accepting. They start accepting changes that they don't like. And I'll stay there. Most people, of course you want the change that you want. But then they'll start accepting the things that they don't want. And then they'll just live their life saying, you know what, it was no way I could change. Like you look at that, and I know what that feels like, because I've been at that point. I've been there in life where I accepted maybe the environment that I was from, or, I accepted how, I didn't think that, I could change. And there was a time in my life when I didn't think I could change. I just thought that, I didn't know how I was going to get out of the situations that I was in. I didn't know I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to stop, drinking at one point, and hey, drinking in itself is nothing wrong. But when you think about drinking alcohol, you are basically telling your body, I don't want it and I want to die early. See, because if my body is on a collision course with my death, really, seriously, from the time you were born with your beginning and your end all at the same time. It's not in the future. It's right now. Your end is already inside you. How you're going to die, I'm going to just tell you, it's predestined. That may be hard to believe, right? That our lives are predestined. It is. See, because God had a purpose for your life. Now, here's the funny thing about it. It's predestined for good. When you get in a situation, if someone quote unquote dies early, sometimes that destiny is met early. I believe that you can meet an early death. You really can. It just depends. But really, the destination that God has for us is with him. That's the destination. Everyone gets that destination. Everyone has a unique gift. Everyone has unique things that they can do, serve up to the world. Everyone has it. But most people don't live up to it. I was listening to a story, and my mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, he was sharing how he thought that, when he looked at people that were very old, 80, 90 years old, he wondered, did they do what they were supposed to do? Because sometimes God is giving us more time because he's waiting. He's like, man, I can't let you go yet. I've got to give you more time so you can figure out what it is. You got to do something that I need you to do. And he shared that with me. He says, man, I said, man, I said, wow, it's a lot of older folk. And then just look, what are they doing? Are they just wasting away their days at the end? Just waiting for death. They have no purpose, just living, accepting where they are, ignoring things. Like, I said, wow. I said, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. So you don't just want to accept. You just don't want to accept what you don't want. You want to be actively moving in this change, because God did say in Isaiah 43, our text, verse 19, that he's going to do a new thing, and he can do it with you. He absolutely can. Then there's the adjustment to change. That's number 4. Adjusting to change. Now, here's adjusting is not necessarily bad, because here's the thing about adjusting. Adjusting is actually good. Change happens, and then you adjust. You say, you know what? I'm having these problems. Let me adjust to make it better. Let me adjust based on my environment. Let me adjust based on what I've learned. Let me adjust now. Instead of just accepting, I'm going to adjust. I'm going to change. Instead of doing it that old way, I'm going to do it the way that it seems like I should do it now. Adjusting to change. Now we're moving into things that's good. You're adjusting, you're getting better. Then there's managing change. Managing change. Managing change is not bad, because when change comes, you want to be able to handle it. So as a manager of change, then now you're starting to see, look at these new opportunities coming into my life. Let me manage them so that I can get better. Let me manage these all these new actions that I must do so that I can continue to grow in my life. Now here's one. Here's number 5. You respond by being a victim to change. Oh, this one here is serious. A victim to change. This is where woe is me. Oh no, this always happens to us. We can never get a break. I can't believe that, after all these years, it's still this way. And like all these sayings, you're being a victim to change. You're not managing. You're not adjusting. You're not seeing the opportunity inside the change. You're just playing the victim card. And that is the worst one of all. You can no longer play the victim when you want to see change, when you're losing that weight, when you're getting your finances together, when you're looking to enrich your marriage, or make relationships better, or you want to enrich your spiritual life, and things are moving slow. See, things are moving based on the speed in which you move. That's how fast they're moving. I looked at an area of my life, which is my financial life. And I've been studying my financial life for a while. And I'm studying it because I said, wow, well, when it came time to transform in my weight, I stuck to a plan. I worked it. I got the results. When I fell off, got back on it, got the results. When I fell off, came back, and then in the third time and realized I know what I have to do, and been on it ever since. Finances is interesting though, because I've been working on it for much longer than my health. And I'm gonna tell you, every time that I stumble, yes, I still stumble financially. I have not made it. And I don't know that I ever will make it, even when I'm making, even when we're earning tens of millions. I don't know that I ever have made it. Here's why won't look at it as making it, because there's always room to grow. So when I stumble, then I have to go back and say, okay, what happened? Like I had a stumbling this year. Year started off good, then there was a stumbling, then there was some challenges. Then you get back on it. And now I'm looking at it and say, well, what happened? Where is it? Where is the situation that I must change? And I'm gonna tell you what I came up with. I'll share this with you. And this is what these changes are all about. It's finding the thing that God has given you to do, your purpose, knowing that when you do it, doesn't, you're never worried about finances. There's nothing that could worry you when you're doing that thing that God gave you. And that is the for the past almost 3 months, that is what I've come up with. When you are working in your gifted zone, you won't have to worry about your finances. Your finances will blow up. Your finances will be right where you want them to be, especially when you know that you're working in your area of giftedness. And so that's what I came up with. Instead of forcing, that quote unquote skill, you get into your sweet spot, and that's where you live. So you don't want to be a victim. But here's the last two. These are the best two of all. You must prepare for change. It's kind of like, at the beginning, really just before the beginning of the year, I started writing down all the changes I wanted to happen. I started writing down, all of the success that I wanted to see, from health to spiritual life, to business, to financial, to my family and relationships, what I wanted, how I wanted to develop my life. I had was it 6 areas? Was it 9? Yeah, 6 areas. 6 blocks. I have 6 blocks on here. 6 blocks of areas in my life that I wanted to improve. And here's the thing about these blocks. You have to have actionable tasks, things that you can do that will ultimately build you up to every area on the block. And so that's where you prepare. And then the last one is planning for change. You got to plan for it. It's kind of like when you plan, you exhibit the highest level of faith in your life when you plan it. See, what God wants you to do is God wants you to plan it out. God wants you to plan all the things that He's got to help you with. And then He wants you to get to work. He wants you to start moving. Now, He's not going to do it. He's just not going to zap down and say, here you go. Just because you said you want it, just because you say you have faith, you can have it. No, it's not how God works. God says, all right, plan it. You got it. All right. So if you can come up with it, that means that He's right there. He's in your thoughts. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, go and do it. All right, I'm gonna go do it. Go do it now. But you got to get going. See, because then what's gonna happen is you're gonna get some challenges. This is how God works. He has to make sure that you are worthy of the goal. You have to prove yourself to the goal by planning it and then moving into action. And as you're proving yourself, because of the different things that's going to happen, the new opportunities that's going to come out of these plans, then all of a sudden, one day you blow up. Listen to Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher, a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about his journey. He was talking about how God had been ordering his steps. And then he talked about how God opened up. I'm talking about, but he had to test him first. He had to be tested in a couple of areas before God opened up the windows of heaven. He said, God said He would open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you would not be able to have room for. What? And He walked that audience through how God had opened up. He saw the windows open. It wasn't something that man did. It wasn't something that he did. It wasn't some new marketing tactic that he had to come up with. He did what God wanted him to do, and the windows opened up. That's called planning. You got to plan your change. You got to prepare for change. You have to adjust to the changes that's happening. That's what those are the three best responses to change. Those are the responses you want to live by. You don't want to be a victim. You really don't. You do not want to be a victim of change. You don't want to resist change. You don't want to ignore change. And you know, don't just accept it, especially if it's not what you want. I mean, it's good. Accept it. Do it. But do not accept what you don't want. Those are the areas that you want to stay away from. You want to be able to manage. You want to manage all the changes that happen. You want to prepare for the changes, and you want to plan for those changes that happen. This is what seeing the change is all about. That's what it's about, guys. So hopefully you wrote all those down. I'm going to run through it again. The 7 responses to change is resist. You resist change. You ignore change. You accept change. You adjust to change. You manage change. You may act like you're a victim of the change. You prepare for change, and then you plan for change. That's what seeing the change is about. That's what it is. Guys, I'm going to tell you, change is serious. And as I wrap this up today, I want to make an appeal to you. And the reason why I just kind of got a nudging to appeal to you today. See, because change is not always easy. Change is hard. Change, think about the coal. Think about the coal that is refined into a diamond. If you could hear the coal cry, that coal would be crying, and I'm just complaining about what's taking place. But the coal didn't realize what was inside of him. The coal did not realize that one of the most precious gems is sitting inside of this. I'm talking about this cruddy, this dark, this dirty, this piece of rock. This is what, if the coal knew, the coal wouldn't cry. The coal would prepare for the change. The coal would plan for that change. The coal would be writing down how he would be managing the change and how he would adjust his life, because he knew that, in the end, what the purpose that God put inside of me is so much bigger and so much greater than anything that I could ever experience. Let me go through the fire. But the coal didn't know. And so the coal resisted change by just, being stubborn. That rock wasn't coming off as fast as he wanted. He couldn't ignore it because the fire was so hot. But I can tell you that coal, if you could hear him talk, may have been acting like the victim. Like, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe you're going to burn me up. But what if you knew with certainty that you are the diamond? See, if you really knew with certainty that you are the diamond, these opportunities in your life, you would look at them as opportunities, and you would wake up every day. You would never complain. You would always say, God is good. All the time is what you would say. But the question is, are you a victim to change? Are you acting as if you're the only person that has to change? See, because if you really want to see the change, what I want you to focus on is knowing. I want you to know this. The first thing is this: God gave you a gift, and what he says is that your gift will make room for you. It would put you in front of great people. Your gift would. It would take care of all your needs. I want you to also know something else. And this is why it's important to follow what God wants. Because many are the plans in a man's heart. Many, this is from Proverbs. Many are the plans in a man's heart. But God's purposes will prevail in the end. If God's purposes are going to prevail in the end, and if he gave you a gift that will set you in front of the great, put you in front of kings, wouldn't it be worth changing? Wouldn't it? I'm gonna invite you to change today. I'm gonna invite you to change by planning for it. All the changes you need to make. I'm gonna invite you to change by preparing for it. I'm gonna invite you to change by adjusting as those changes happen. And I'm gonna invite you to change as you accept, no, not accept, as you manage all of the changes that will happen in your life. I'm going to invite you to do that. Look, if you want that, let me know in the comments. Let me know in an inbox. Let me know that you've decided that you're going to change. You've decided that there's nothing that's going to hold you back from finding out the purpose for which God's created your life. Let me know in the comments. Give me a shout out. Say, you know what? This is my year. This is my time, and I'm ready. That's what Seeing the Change is all about, guys. So I appreciate you for joining me today. We're a little bit longer today, but you know what? I think it's important. It's important that we understand what Seeing the Change is about. God bless you today. And I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to knowing you. I look forward to having life and spending life together with you. I look forward to that. We are going to start a movement of change. That's what we're going to do. So from today on, every day, we're going to talk about this movement of changing your spiritual well-being, this movement of changing your finances and changing your marital status and or getting it right, getting your relationships right, this movement of a healthy body, this movement of eating the right foods, this movement of I'm talking about getting your life in tune with the purposes in which God has created. Be on the lookout for this movement. All right, guys, I appreciate you for joining me today. If you stayed to the end, you are awesome. You are incredible. And I'm so thankful for you today. All right, God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you back tomorrow as we continue this change and as we continue talking about and sharing what this movement is about. God bless you. Take care.